Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rutech. Today, we'll be talking about the best 5 $500 laptops that you can get in or around August of 2021. Over the past year or two, I have seen a major turnaround for laptops in this price range. To get a laptop that would even have decent performance, you'd absolutely have to spend more than $500, but that has since changed thanks to AMD and Intel's new lines of processors and integrated graphics. Now keep in mind, I'm not talking exclusively about gaming. Sure, you could do some light gaming with the laptops I will be talking about in 1080p, however, they are not made for gaming exclusively, and if you find a laptop in this price range that says it's gaming capable, it's for the most part false advertising. You're not going to get great gaming performance from a laptop for $500 unless you're playing pretty low demanding games. So to find the top 5, I do the typical protocol of looking through every listed spec of the most popular $500 laptops and find the ones with the best specs and reliability. So let's get started, but first, this message. DigitalChillMart.com is the best place to get cheap Windows 10 license keys. If you're building a PC or have built one, but you're still running an unactivated version of Windows, Digital Chill Mart has you covered. Simply go to the front page of their website, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find Windows 10 Home and Pro for great prices. And the price gets better. I have a coupon code for you guys to use. Type in RUTECH right here and it'll instantly be applied. Link for Digital Chill Mart will be in my description. Alright, keep in mind that these laptops are in no particular order, but I will mention my personal recommendation at the end of the video. So, in the number 5 slot, we have the HP 14. Let's start with the specs. It has a 6-core Ryzen 5500U, 8GB of DDR4 3200MHz RAM, 256GB of SSD storage, and Vega 7 integrated graphics. So that CPU, very powerful, light years better than anything you could have gotten for $500 1 to 2 years ago. The 5500U is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU with hyperthreading, which has a base clock of 2.1 GHz and boost clock of 4 GHz. As for the integrated graphics of the 5500U, it's the Vega 7 graphics. What's incredible is that this integrated GPU has some great gaming performance. You can play modern, lower demanding games in 1080p with a decently consistent 16 up frames per second. For example, CSGO, Valorant, League, Minecraft with light shaders, etc. in 1080p pose no threat to the integrated Vega 7 graphics. Now, one thing that may be a little problematic to your overall experience is the RAM. Nothing wrong with the RAM itself, it's just 8GB is not very much for common 2021 tasks. Fortunately though, you can upgrade the RAM capacity to 16GB if you'd like. I do highly recommend it, at least down the road, as it'll give you a much better experience. 256GB of SSD storage comes with this laptop. It should be fine as long as you're not putting huge files onto this computer. Less storage with a much faster drive versus having a lot of storage with a slow hard drive, as it'll make the whole computer feel a lot more snappy. And fortunately, most laptops nowadays don't come with a 1TB hard drive. Instead, they have a lower capacity SSD. And I'm glad to see the display is 1080p. 1 to 2 years ago, most $500 laptops would have below 1080p resolutions, and to me, 1080p is already the bare minimum in 2021. And lastly, for ports, it has a headphone/mic combo jack, 1 USB-C, 2 USB Type A's, which is your typical USB port, an HDMI out, and an SD card reader. So yeah, overall, super solid laptop from HP. They've been doing it a long time. This is an impressive, fast laptop with great specs. Next up, number 4, the Lenovo IdeaPad 3. You know it's a Lenovo when it has the word idea in its branding. Now, this laptop, like the last one, has the Ryzen 5500U processor, so 6 cores, 12 threads, hyperthreading, base clock of 2.1, boost of 4 GHz, and the lovely Vega 7 graphics. 6 cores, 12 threads will be super fast, especially for this price range. There's a reason why AMD processors have been the winners for budget CPUs for a while now. The 5500U is another example of it. 8GB of DDR4 RAM, like I said, 8GB, not that much for modern 2021 applications, but you can upgrade the RAM with this Lenovo, fortunately. As I said, it has Vega 7 graphics, so it definitely can game on those lower demanding titles. You just need to drop those graphic settings to ensure a consistent frame rate. Only thing you'd really need to keep an eye on is those thermals. You wouldn't want thermal throttling in the middle of your gaming session, so make sure you have the laptop elevated a little bit to ensure good airflow when and if gaming. But fortunately, with these newer AMD processors, they do a really good job with the thermal performance. And the display is 1080p 14 inches, which, like I said, is great because anything below 1080p just is not worth it. And for ports, one USB 2.0, one USB 3.0, HDMI out, and an SD card reader. Next, number 3 is surprisingly a gateway laptop. That's a name you have not heard in a while, but it certainly seems like they're making a comeback with this laptop. Let's take a look at those specs. For the CPU, it has the AMD 3450U, which is a Zen Plus 4-core 8-thread processor with a base clock of 2.1 GHz and boost clock of 3.5 GHz. For RAM, this laptop has 16 GB instead of the usual 8 GB that we've been seeing, so there's definitely a lot more room and capability for multitasking work with this laptop as well as gaming. As expected with this price range, there's 256 GB of SSD storage, and as I said, 256 gigs is enough to get by as long as you don't have a massive file or massive files that you need to have saved locally onto the PC. The GPU is Vega 8, which is just about the same exact performance as Vega 7, which is what we've been seeing with the previous laptops, and that pretty much means that this laptop can play lower demanding titles at 1080p. And for the display, this has a little bit of a bigger size versus what we've been seeing with 5 and 4. This one is 15.6 inches with a 1920 by 1080p resolution. Personally, I 100% prefer a 15.6 inch display over a 14 inch. To me, 14 is just a little small, but there's a lot more to laptops than their screen size. And for ports, it has one USB-C, two USB 3.0s, one micro SD slot, an HDMI out, and an audio jack. So it looks like this is a great laptop on paper. Now, since I haven't heard about Gateway in a long time, I can't exactly comment on its reliability, but in my opinion, it looks good, solid, a lot of memory, and a 15.6 inch 1080p display. Quite impressive. Next up is the Asus X512DA. I'm not saying that whole name. For the CPU, it has the AMD Ryzen 5 3500U. It has 4 cores, 8 threads, base clock of 2.1 GHz, and boost clock of 3.7, and has hyper-threading. As for RAM, there's, as expected, 8 GB of DDR4 memory. For storage, there's 512 GB, which is great if you need more than the typical 256 GB you see in most of these laptops. In my opinion, 512 is the bare minimum, but unfortunately, in this price range, you will rarely see that capacity. As for the integrated graphics, the Ryzen 5 3500U comes with Vega 8 graphics, which is the exact same as the previous laptop I just spoke about, so it is capable of gaming at 1080p. As for the display, it has a 1080p 15.6 inch screen. And for ports, one USB 3.0, one USB-C, two USB 2.0s, one HDMI out, a headphone jack, and a micro SD card reader. Pretty impressive specs, especially because this one has a 15.6 inch display and a 512 GB SSD. And last but not least, for number 5 is the Dell Inspiron 15-3000. Pretty similar specs to what we've seen with the rest of these $500 laptops. For the CPU, it has a Ryzen 5 3450U, which is a 4-core 8-thread processor with a base clock of 2.1 GHz and a boost clock of 3.5 GHz. For memory, there's 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, which won't be problematic unless you're doing a lot of multitasking or if you're gaming. A lot of storage comes with this laptop, 512 GB, which should be more than enough for most applications. So, for example, if you want to back up all your videos and photos from your previous phones or tablets to this PC, you definitely have a lot of space to do that, along with many other things. As for the gaming side of things, this laptop has the integrated Vega 8 graphics, which comes with the Ryzen 3450U, and I will reiterate once more that Vega 8 graphics can handle lower demanding games at 1080p. As for the display, it's a full 15.6 inch 1080p screen. Really happy to see that A, it's full HD, and B, it's 15.6 inches. Let me tell you, a year ago, making these top 5 $500 laptops was tough because finding a good laptop in this price range that actually had a full 1080p 15.6 inch display was pretty difficult. So yeah, overall, great last laptop here from Dell. But which of these 5 is the absolute best? This is a tough one. All of these laptops are great, and you seriously can't go wrong with any of them, but I have to come to a final decision. And after looking through the specs, port selection, screen resolution and screen size, batteries, and other items, I have to say that the Asus, I'll say the full name this time, Asus X512DA BTS 2020RL comes out on top. Let me tell you why. For starters, it has a 15.6 inch display. Personally, I think 15.6 inches is the minimum size you should get when it comes to laptops. 14 inches just doesn't cut it unless you want an ultra portable small laptop. However, for all other applications, 15.6 inches is the way to go. It also has a great fast quad-core processor. Now, the first 2 laptops have a 6-core processor. However, those laptops only have 256 GB of storage and 14-inch displays, unlike this Asus, which has 512 12GB of SSD storage, and a 15.6-inch screen. Now, if you're exclusively trying to game, laptops 5 and 4 will be your best bet, but I am going for an all-around laptop in this recommendation that can do a lot more than just have the best gaming performance. Another great thing about the Asus laptop is it has upgradable storage and memory, meaning you can upgrade to 16GB of RAM, which I highly recommend. 8GB just doesn't really do it anymore. And the final thing I like about this Asus laptop is that it's Asus. I love Asus products. Out of all the PC brands that I've bought parts or devices from, Asus has always had phenomenal quality control, and I just about never have issues with their products. So yeah, that will do it for this top 5. Again, all these laptops are amazing. You can't go wrong with any one of them, and the links for them will be in the description. If you enjoy the video, drop a like. Have any comments or questions, drop a comment below, and if you enjoy the content that you're seeing, drop a sub. Thanks for watching. Peace out.